I'm Tom Baker, this is Chasing Cars, and today we're driving the SUV that sits at the top of the Volkswagen range. This is the Touareg, or perhaps it's the Touareg, nobody can really agree. But in any case, the Touareg is a large 5-seat SUV that, like most Volkswagens, nestles itself comfortably above mainstream cars like the Toyota Kluger, but just below luxury cars like the Audi Q7. And what you end up with is pretty compelling because the Touareg remains fairly affordable, but as we'll see in a moment, it's just about up to luxury car standards inside. And although the big VW is entering its 5th year of service now, I think it's aged really well with handsome, chunky lines that really suit this car. And this particular one is the new special Wolfsburg edition, which brings exclusive reef blue paint and chunky black wheels that look excellent. Well, there have been some changes inside as well, so hop in with me now and let's check those out. Hop into the Touareg and the first thing you notice is the beautifully heavy doors. This thing feels like a tank, so it's a car that you would happily tuck your family into. The next thing you notice is just how premium it feels in here, particularly in this Wolfsburg specification, which gets these soft and really comfortable diamond pattern leather seats. They're nice and supportive with really generous bolstering adjustment, plus they're also heated and cooled, so the seats get a big tick from me. Now the Touareg is getting on in years, and you can notice that with the navigation and audio screen that you get in this car. So although it's a nice big colour touchscreen, compared to more modern Volkswagens, the resolution is a little bit grainy and you certainly don't get things like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That said, it is relatively easy to use and the stereo sounds pretty good as well. Now the Touareg isn't the biggest car inside, but there are still a number of practical touches. So there's a really big central bin down here, 2 large cup holders, a small cubby ahead of the dash, and good sized door bins. And on the whole, material quality in this car is really nice. So the steering wheel feels really lovely, it's soft. Most of the surfaces up here are really yielding to the touch, which is great. And in general, you feel like you're sitting in an expensive car. The Touareg isn't a 7-seater, which will be a problem for some families, but if all you need is 5 seats, then the Touareg is actually a really good option because this second row is almost as comfortable as the first. So you get more soft leather seats back here, and you can easily get 3 people across the back of this car. Plus, the seats have a couple of tricks up their sleeve. So firstly, they do slide fore and aft, which is great, so you can either choose heaps of legroom or a really big boot. The second thing is that they also recline, which is just great for road trips, and you could easily see people dozing off in the back of this car, which is great. And the next thing is there's just tremendous headroom, legroom, and tow room sitting behind myself here as well. Plus you do have things like a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders. People do get their own air vents back here with fan control, and there's a nice little storage shelf, plus generously sized door bins in the back as well. Pop open the electric tailgate on the Touareg, which is a really nice fast door, and when it opens up you'll find that this car has a really good boot. So it's really nice and square, and there's actually 580 litres of space behind that second row. Now the sharp listeners among you will note that that's actually less space than you get in the new Tiguan, which is a smaller SUV, but it goes to show just how space efficient the new cars are compared to older platforms like this. That said, I'm not complaining, this is still a great boot and it has a number of tricks up its sleeve. So firstly, you can fold the second row from right here in the boot at the touch of a button to get 1600 litres of space, which is enormous. There are some spaces to put your shopping, so there's a tub over here to stop it from rolling around, and there are shopping bag hooks. But this car's biggest party trick back here is that you can actually lower the entire car with a button right here in the boot. So if you've got something really heavy to put in, or if you're a little shorter, you can just drop down the car and slide things in so easily. I love that feature. You can get into a Volkswagen Touareg from just $68,990, and some of the best value in the Touareg range is actually in the 71 grand 150 TDI Element model. From there, it's a step up to the gutsy V6 TDI engine, which is $85,000. And this Wolfsburg edition, which is based on the V6 TDI, comes in at 89 grand. But if what you really want is a Touareg with a V8, Volkswagen will do one for you. They'll put in Audi's 4.2 litre diesel, which will cost you a pretty penny at $116,000. Although you can get the Touareg with 3 engines, including a good value 150 kilowatt diesel and a truly stonking 4.2 litre V8 diesel, the one you really want is the sweet spot in the middle of the range, and that's this car, the V6 TDI. So it gets the 180 kilowatt version of the 3 litre turbo diesel 6 that makes 550 Newton meters of torque. It's a remarkably smooth diesel with fairly linear response. All of that torque is available from 1750 RPM, so the Touareg doesn't need much encouragement in the city, but it's on the highway where it's in its absolute element. Driving Sydney to Melbourne and back in this car, it's so quiet, so smooth and so strong, and it returned fuel economy just under 8 litres per 100 kilometres. The Touareg is a seriously comfortable cruiser. The air suspension's comfort mode irons out virtually every imperfection from the road surface, and the sport mode brings back a degree of feel, and it also reduces the ride height while you're driving. However, the Touareg is never a particularly sporty car in the corners. Steering feel though is particularly good because the car still has hydraulic power steering rather than electric power steering. Taking the Touareg off-road is definitely something you can do, and it's actually very, very competent off-road, which is perhaps not what you'd imagine when you look at it. It shares most of its off-roading components with the Amarok, and like that ute, it's really just a mountain goat. The extremely low first gear from the 8-speed automatic multiplies torque to such a degree that low range really isn't necessary, and we scrambled up many really difficult slopes with absolutely no problem. The Touareg comes with a number of adaptive safety features as well, including active cruise control with forward collision warning and a blind spot monitoring system too. It's been around a while, but we think the Touareg still has plenty to offer. Certainly over a road trip of 2,000 kilometres, it was effortlessly comfortable on-road and impressively competent off it, all while still looking good. Given a sharp deal on one, this would be a hard vehicle to overlook.